Welcome back to On Base Live in your Bleacher Report app. I am your host, Mookie Betts, and today we got the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. How you doing, brother?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, my man. Thanks for coming on the show. Before we talk about the big dumper, because I do want to know about that, you're the first catcher we've had on base, and so later on I'm going to really pick your brain about that because I said shortstop is the hardest position after catching. And so we have a firsthand take or a viewpoint from you. So we'll talk about it later. But first thing was we play a game called on base and off base, in and out, in or out. All right.
Okay.
First thing, Tyreek Hill could beat Noah Lyles in a 100-meter race.
I'm in on that.
You're in. Why are you in on that?
Honestly, I don't know. I know there's been some beef lately, and I don't keep up with it too much, but I like the confidence, and I don't know. I watched that guy run on the football field. It's pretty amazing.
But
so,
I mean,
he's not professional.
Okay, yeah,
but
then
I don't know. I like to believe that there's going to be some kind of. I like to see it, and then
You think it'll happen? I think.
Are they going to do it?
I feel like it's going to happen at some point. I mean, I feel like it has to. Noah Lyles he stayed in the media. He's done a great job staying in the media and whatnot. And now this Tyreek Hill, he loves being in the media and doing challenges. He's a very athletic person, so he loves basketball, football, obviously, and all other sports. But
I'd like to see it. Yeah, I'd like to at least see it. I mean, I don't like I said. Realistically, I don't know if he beat him, but I think it'd be kind of cool if he did. I mean,
I would like to see like Ellie running that. And I think who else is fast?
Corbin Burns.
Corbin Burns.
Guy can burn. Corbin Burns, Ellie. I don't know. It's kind of funny because watching those two, obviously, as a catcher.
You mean Corbin Carroll?
Oh, did I say Burns?
Yeah, Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll.
I meant Corbin Carroll. Sorry. Yeah. Corbin Burns probably does not burn.
He does not at all.
No, but watching those two run, it's unbelievable because they're so different in size and height, and it's just different how they run. But they're just obviously being a catcher. You're like, I gotta get rid of this ball.
Yeah,
There's not a great chance of throwing these guys out.
So Ellie, we're signing you up for a 100-meter race. So go ahead and start. I mean, you already have 70 bags, so you've been practicing all year. And just keep on doing what you're doing. And you got a race against Tyreek Hill and Noah Lyles. Make sure you put on for the MLB. All right, so next one. Toasted grasshoppers are the best ballpark snacks.
No, I'm out on that.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Seattle sells toasted grasshoppers, as you can see there, and I've tried them, and I'm out. I'm out on it. I'm out on it. I think. Do you like them?
Yeah, I've had them before. They're not as bad as you would think. Being a grasshopper, they season them up and make them salty. But yeah, not the best ballpark snack. There's, nowadays, I mean, you got any kind of food you could possibly imagine. Yeah, all these stadiums and
especially like San Diego. That's still one of my favorite food. Ballparks. They got you can just go there. You go there to eat dinner before the game or during the game.
Cuisine everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
You can get whatever you want, and it's like our ballpark. They got every type of food. You got Asian, Mexican, burgers, dogs, like whatever you want,
and grasshoppers.
And
you know what I'm saying? You can
probably not going there though.
All right. Okay, so what about this one? A 6-inning minimum rule for starting pitchers would be good for baseball. For you guys in particular.
Yeah, well, our starters they've been great all year. So
they're ridiculous.
Yeah,
but I feel like I'm kind of in on that rule because it forces guys to go out and pitch. You got to learn how to pitch. It's not just go out and throw as hard as you can for 4 innings or 5 innings, get through 5 or whatever. Like you have to go to make it through 6 innings. You got to pitch, and obviously if you don't, then there's repercussions as far as I don't know what all the rules that are going to go in behind it, but I don't know. I'm kind of in on it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all in on anything we do to get these guys to, get deeper into games. I think, with all of this, new age stuff of, getting through the lineup twice and then bouncing and then giving it to, 4 or 5 relievers a game. I think people want to see, these great pitchers go the distance, and people are missing, guys going complete games or getting through lineups. And I feel like it's definitely hurt the game. So anything we could do to get these guys to keep going longer and, whatever it may be, if it has to be that new rule they're talking about with losing the DH, I believe is what
I think it's like, the DH goes and then, whatever it is.
Yeah.
How, I know they had mentioned, I think kind of maybe some draft picks or something happens. If I don't know how it's all going to work, but the main thing is, I think it's a good thing.
I think so too. I think, you want to see, like I said, you want to see these horses go as long as they can. And it's good for the game. And, I feel like we've lost a little bit of that. And, sometimes you want to go to the ballpark and you want to see the good old fashioned baseball pitcher going 9 and, getting a standing O and not getting taken out of the game, for those other reasons. So,
okay. I got the last one. And this one is near and dear to me. Ghosts are real. Are you in or out?
100%.
You're on base.
100%.
So, tell me why you're on base.
Well, I guess quick story. We lived in a haunted house when I was growing. I was a baby, so obviously I don't remember.
Let's stop there. So you lived in a haunted house.
Yes,
and your family knew it was haunted.
Yes, it was, but it was not. It was a friendly ghost. Apparently, is what I heard.
Casper.
Yeah, Casper.
Hello. Okay, so Casper stayed at your house when you were a kid. Okay, now my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. It was like, so apparently like drapes and curtains were constantly being pushed open. My mom would close them. And like I said, I was a baby, so I don't really know. And then same thing with like the front door constantly, she'd walk by, just constantly open, like wide open. Nothing bad, but just like little things like that. And they ended up, I don't know what the whole story was, but my mom fully convinced ghosts, and I believe in them. I watch, all the shows. I don't know if those are all real, but I'm fully convinced.
Okay, have you stayed? Have you played Milwaukee?
Yes.
You played Milwaukee
this year.
And this is your first year?
First year there, yeah.
And did you guys stay at the Pfister?
We did. Did
you have any experiences?
I didn't.
Okay.
There was a really weird like ceramic dog in the room that I didn't like. It was a little creepy, but besides that, I didn't have any problems. There was another hotel we stayed in Oakland that was very eerie. Mm-hmm. No, it was in Berkeley, excuse me. And that one is apparently haunted. And I thought that one felt a little weird.
And that was just a feel, or did something happen?
We heard it was haunted.
You heard?
And
okay.
I was getting like a lot of creaks, a lot of moans. Like,
okay.
Just a little uncomfortable. But
okay. You were fine though.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, I'm on base on it. I'm on base on it. And I don't know if ghosts are real, but I feel like they are. And all these stories, like too many people have stories. You know what I'm saying? This many people wouldn't make up stories. Fortunately, I haven't had any experiences. Hopefully I never do. Because I feel like if I was to ever find out that there was a ghost that, was in the room or whatever, I would absolutely lose my mind. And for the rest of my life, I will be scarred because I feel like that ghost is not confined to this room. He can go wherever I'm going. And so, I don't know them. They don't know me. And I don't know if we can develop a relationship or anything. So you know what? Just stay over there and I'm going to go my way. So that's how I feel about,
Yeah, I mean, I think they're out there. Like you said, they're out there. I don't think they're all bad.
No, I don't think so either.
I think there's some that are just.
But you run into the one that is bad.
Hey, you don't want that.
It ruins it for all of them.
Yeah. You get a bad rap.
Yeah, you get a bad rap. All right, so on to the next thing. I think Bryce tweeted out a little bit ago about shaking you off. And can you tell me about that? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get, now it seems like I'm a bad guy because I'm not letting pitchers call whatever they want.
No, you're not a bad guy. You're a manager. You control the game. You control the game. You're doing your job.
No, yeah, Bryce was funny. He had he's always funny. He says things and he's true. I mean, there have been instances, and he's a rookie, he's still learning the ropes and he's been really good for us. And, there's been times where, pitchers, think they need to do this or that. And when in reality, as a catcher, you see the game, you're catching a lot of games, you've been around and you kind of know maybe a little more in that situation of like what you need to do. So, there has been instances where, I haven't let them shake, but, there's also been times where I do let them shake and it works out good. And, because at the end of the day, it's their game,
right?
They're getting paid to do it and they have conviction of what they throw and I want them to. And
so how do you balance it? Like, how do you go about that? Is it like maybe if nobody's on you and I'm just saying allow them to shake, but you're allowed them to shake then, or maybe in the score in a guy in scoring position,
right?
Is that when you kind of lean more on you? Is it just you kind of read the game?
No, you're right. You read the game first of all, and then secondly, you have to know the hitters too. I think in the big leagues, you learn really quickly that you can't just throw the same pitch over and over and get guys out, or guys make adjustments pitch to pitch here. So, and you learn who those guys are in the league of like, all right, you got me once with this pitch. I'm not gonna let you get me again with it. And sometimes pitchers coming up, they're like, oh, well, I just made him look silly on that slider. I can just throw it again. When in reality, the guy's made the adjustment and he's sitting on it or so as whatever catcher, it may be.
Do you watch people's, and this is me genuinely asking, like, do you just watch people's takes? Do you watch everything about where they step in the box and like, do you pay attention to all that when it comes to calling pitches?
Yeah. You take everything into account. So you're taking everything from pregame meetings to video to, scouting reports, analytics stuff. And then you also take into account, past experiences. And then you got to take into account what's my guy's best stuff. Is he locating that day? Is he not locating? How's this guy feeling? Is he a first pitch swinger? Is he not? Is he a different hitter? We're running scoring position. So there's tons of stuff that goes into it. And then, but at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing I've learned is, it's baseball and you got to play the game and you got to let your eyes tell you what's going on and what needs to happen. And, you can feel it a lot of the time.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing, for if I was to tell, another catcher, young guy coming up, like, use your eyes, trust your instincts, because usually you're going to be right about that.
And that can change pitch to pitch. Like this guy could clip a couple fastballs and you see he's feeling this fastball, throw it again versus, that one may not have been as good. So let's deviate the plan or maybe he fouled off a pitch that you thought would, and you got to pay attention to all that. And control the running game. Like, add that into it. So how is controlling the running game with the pitch clock and the limited amount of throwovers? Like, how has that made the running game tough to control or made easier to control?
It's kind of been a challenge. It was a challenge at first because, you don't have a lot of time to, look over, get the running game sign, call a pitch. Guy has to, come set, and then the clock's winding down. And I think the hardest part at first was, the clock's ticking down. So you don't have a lot of time to make a decision because if you're calling late, then, what you saw with a lot of the younger guys, they're just waiting until the clock gets to 1 and they're just taking off and just, basically placing their bets, being like, you're not going to pick over. So that's been the challenge is like, we have to hurry, get the sign in. That way our guy has time, to hold runners, to mix looks and do stuff like that because, like I said, guys are just hopping, timing, pitch clock, really, not really timing the pitcher per se, but timing the pitch clock. And so it's been tough, especially for those guys that, work a little slower and like to take their time. And, the type of guys that like come set like 4 times.
Yeah,
and, like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So like, that's been probably the hardest part is just making sure that we're getting the sign in. Cause as soon as you throw the ball back, you're like, I got to think about like, how do you take that pitch? pitch, or how did he foul it off? And now that determines, what pitch I'm going to call. And then, it's mixing those looks. And actually, Bryce Miller does a great job. He came up with the pitch clock. So he learned to manipulate the pitch clock, and he's learned to hold on purpose and then go really quick. And so he's actually really good at holding runners because he can do that, which is kind of a skill that he learned because he came up with the clock. Whereas guys who are here, it's kind of a newer thing. So they kind of had to learn on the run.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So changing gears, you were a part of the team in 2022 when you guys made playoffs. And I think it ended like a 20-year playoff drought or something. Tell me about that experience. How was that?
It was unbelievable. 20 years, since Seattle has been to a playoff, and we got down to the last week or so. It was looking pretty good, and obviously hit that clinch home run to put us in the playoffs, and that was probably the coolest moment of my life. I don't know if I'll ever top that. Okay. Yeah, it was, but it was amazing. I mean, I don't know, you hear stories, from former players, you talk to guys and you're like, hey, there's no better feeling than being in the playoffs or that playoff atmosphere. And I obviously don't have to tell you, but I mean, I haven't even, we haven't sniffed the World Series or anything quite like that, but just being in those wild card games, the DS was some of the most fun I've ever had playing baseball. I mean, that's what you play for. And I mean, just being a part of that was.
And Seattle has a really good fan base.
Oh, yeah.
A really good fan base. I mean, going up there, it's always packed, and everybody knows baseball. I feel like they appreciate good baseball.
Oh, they do.
Up in Seattle. And so, and tell me, were you nervous?
When?
During playoffs.
I mean, yeah, I was. I mean, it's a good nervous though. It's I want to be nervous, and I always feel like I play better when I have that kind of nervous type, I want to do good. I want to go out there and play well, and there's something on the line. It's what you play for me. So that's why I enjoy it, and I like having that kind of feeling in my stomach of those butterflies. And but yeah, for sure I was nervous. It was unbelievably fun though. Had a great series in Toronto, and obviously, came up a little short against Houston, but we played them three tough games. Could have gone either way, and last one was 18 innings. No runner on second.
Yeah,
so
and that's completely different.
Yeah.
That really does change the game. Like when a man at second starts, that makes it tough. Okay, so we have a little fan. A fan engagement question, but we have a little segment here. Check it out, please.
Hey y'all, I'm Abby, the producer of On Base, and we're going extra innings with Geico. We want to know, you as a fan, how many at-bats would it take you to get a hit in an MLB game? Roll the clip.
How many at-bats would it take you to get a hit in an MLB game?
Oh, Lord. I am not athletic.
I would never get a hit. I was bad enough in Little League. 10, oh God.
30 at-bats, I guess. I'm not good at baseball at all.
I played baseball my life, so knowing how hard it is, 15, 20.
0. I wouldn't hit it. 1. I used to play baseball.
We'd have to be here for the whole season.
1,000.
At least 50 times. And I need full body armor. The most fun part of me would be walking out, some Megan Thee Stallion song, get everybody high.
I'll have some confidence in myself and say about 10.
1. First hit.
Off who?
Zach Wheeler.
Zach Wheeler? That was a dog. Maximum 25 ABs, I'm getting 1 out of 25. A base hit.
I'm Zach Bunny, I'm flying down. I'm flying down the first base line.
Probably a few hundred. I'm pretty terrible.
2 or 3. I'll say realistically 3. I'll probably get hit by a pitch first on purpose just to take the bait. But that probably hurts.
26.
2. 157.
Accurate.
I'm going 0. You can give them an infinite amount of at-bats.
Yeah.
Hitting a baseball. I mean, I don't know all the other sports. I'm sure there are some really, really hard sports, but I can't imagine they're harder than hitting a baseball. But whatever. Anyways, so let's talk about you as a kid, bro. Where are you from?
Grew up from a small town, Colowee, North Carolina. Grew up there. I kind of moved around a little bit. My dad was a coach, and lived in Knoxville, Tennessee for a little bit, and ended up moving back to North Carolina.
So in North Carolina, did you play football?
Basketball.
Basketball guy. So you basketball and baseball.
Basketball and baseball.
And what position did you play in basketball?
I was a forward. You know, I was one of the bigger guys at the time, so playing like a 4 or 5.
Did you have a jumper?
Yes, I could shoot a little bit.
So
top of the key guy.
Top of the key
guy. Didn't like the corners very much. I like the top.
Top of the key guy. And were you guys good?
We were. We made the Final Four my last 2 years of high school. I was pretty good. I was all state.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
were there any people that you played with that are made it to the NBA or to college or anything?
Some college, you know, played against actually some NFL players, but Brandon Ingram's the biggest one.
Nice.
He's
Okay.
from Kinston, North Carolina. So we saw him later in the playoffs. And but yeah, I really enjoyed basketball. I had so much fun playing.
Nice. And so then you get recruited for baseball and you end up going to Florida State.
Florida State.
How was Florida State? Did you enjoy it?
It was amazing. Yeah, it was great 3 years. Made lifelong friends. Got to play for an amazing coach. Long time, you know, the winningest coach in NCAA history. And it's just honestly, it was a great college experience getting to go there. And it was, you know, baseball was huge there. The athletics there, obviously the football games are huge, and just the college lifestyle there is fun. And it's, you know, Florida, it's hard to beat there. So, you know, it's like a 40,000 people, college students. It's a great college town too.
And your dad played a big part as well.
Mm-hmm.
He coached.
He did. Yeah.
And so growing up, like, what was he the dad that kind of sat back and watched, you know, kind of let you do your thing, and then when you were at home, you know, you trained or whatever? Or was he the dad that was all in the whole time? Because he was coaching, so he was, you know, kind of doing both.
Yeah, I'd say it was, you know, I grew up going to the field every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, you know, whether it was fall practice, you know, the spring when they're playing games. I grew up after school. My mom would take me straight to the field, and I'd be out there watching, you know, hitting in the cages with like the clubbies managers. Like, those guys became my best friends. And like, so I'm out there, you know, working on stuff. And then after the practice is over, he's throwing to me, and, you know, it was my life. So I was all in, and that's what I love to do. And to me, it was the best thing ever growing up.
Nice.
You know, getting to do that.
So I want to tell everybody this story. We played it. We were in Seattle, and Cal Raleigh. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I'd heard the name, but I'm like, you know, I didn't pay any type of attention to it really, because, you know, I'm playing, like, you know, whatever.
Right.
So then I'm like, man, I've seen that name before. And then I'm like, man, I don't know where I've seen it. And then I'm thinking, like, Coach Raleigh, he recruited me to Tennessee.
That's right.
You know what? I don't know if this is his kid or not, because I didn't know. I had no idea. We didn't really get to know each other that well.
Mm-hmm.
Me and your dad just yet, because Ash Lawson was the guy that I talked to, and I'm sure you know him. And so then I think I asked you during the game.
You did, yeah, at second base.
Mm-hmm. And then I remember going before the game the next day. I was like, man, make sure you tell your dad I said hey before I stepped in the box. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, that his kid is here. And, you know, shout out to you. Thank you, Coach Raleigh, for recruiting me. You know, the real reason why I signed to go to Tennessee under your dad, because they were terrible. They were not good.
Yeah, it wasn't a great 4 years.
It wasn't. And it had nothing really to do with him. It was like, you know what? I want to go play for him because the love, the appreciation that he gave me, what he told me, the confidence he instilled that he was going to make me a better player. All these things. And I'm like, you know, and then I can go and I'm going to play immediately. Because it seems like, hey, you're going to play immediately. So I'm like, I'm going to go there. And so that was a little story. Yeah, his dad recruited me to Tennessee. But anyways, so now how is Pops? How's he doing?
He's great. You know, I got a little brother. He's 13, 14. It's a big age gap.
Yeah.
And
right.
So he's taking care of him right now. He's you know, trying to get him through, just started high school, and he's a switch hitting catcher.
Okay.
He's like my size now.
Oh, okay.
Not as big. He's tall though. And he's kind of the next project. He's like, he wants to, you know, see him through, wants to give him the best chance. And, you know, he's taking care of him and, you know, the rest of my family, and they're all good. And it's funny, like those stories. Like I remember when I was, you know, my brother's age, and he's like, yeah, we got this middle infielder. He's from around Nashville area. And he's really good. He's going to be really good. He's a stud. His name's Mookie. And I remember, I'm like, obviously it's crazy to watch, you know, we followed you going up to the minors. And I remember like, you know, going through his phone and stuff, and I'd see like your name in there, and I'd show my friends. I'm like, look, he's got Mookie Betts' phone number. Like, how cool is that?
That's funny. Yeah. That's cool. So tell me about this switch hitting catcher thing. Is this like your dad's thing? Like he likes, like he made both of you guys?
Yeah. So like, you know, as soon as I picked up a bat, it was, hey, hit this way and hit this way. Everything you do on the right side, you do on the left side. So like, I technically don't know my natural side. Like,
because you've been doing it that long.
Yeah, like it was. I guess it was his plan. Like he was like, he didn't want me to know. He just wanted me to like just do everything the same. So like, and him being a coach, like, you know, he has like that feel for like, hey, it's probably a good idea. And like now I'm seeing these nasty lefties throwing 97. I'm like, thank God I don't have to go up there.
Okay.
You know, right on right, left on left, and so he did end up doing to my little brother as well. And you know, like I said, thankful for it, and you know, makes my life a little bit easier sometimes.
But tell me about the maintenance of that, because as a hitter, it's hard to maintain one swing. And as a position player, I have a little more time on my hands because, you know, I go and take my ground balls or take my fly balls or whatever as defense. And then I have time to kind of sit around the cage, talk amongst the guys, you know what I'm saying, make adjustments with the hitting coaches and this, that, and the other. But as a catcher, when you get to the field, you have the pitchers meetings, then you have the hitters meeting, then you have to get yourself ready. So you don't really have a whole lot of time to be in the cage. And so now you don't have a whole lot of time to be in the cage because you're in meetings and stuff all day about other people. So now you're not even getting to really think about what you need to do. And then you have to go maintain 2 swings. How?
It's, you know, I'd say it's really hard, and sometimes it's really simple. So it's like, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. So like, you know, when things aren't going well, it's like, darn, I got 2 swings I got to fix. Or, you know, sometimes it's like one's good and the other's not good. It's like, it's kind of annoying. It's just, but on the other hand, you can look at it and it's like, sometimes you really got to simplify things down. And, you know, like as a hitter, and, you know, when you figure things out, sometimes it's like the simpler, the better. And it's like, sometimes it's like, the less you do, the better you are. You know, the simpler you keep things, the easier it is. So like, I think that's the hardest challenge is like, you know, separating the 2 swings, knowing that my left side's my left side, my right side's my right side, keeping them separate from each other, not letting them leak and blend into each other, you know, not letting my problems on my right side leak to my left or vice versa. And, you know, just trying to keep simple thoughts, like simple, easy things that I can repeat over and over that is not going to overcomplicate it or, you know, make things cloudy, you know, for the game.
Have you thought about just staying on one side?
No.
Never.
I've always like, I've been committed to it. I really have. And like, I've almost taken it like as like a challenge. Like,
oh, okay.
Cause like, you know, I've had people tell me like, hey, you should bang righty. You don't do it anymore. Or you should, you know, only go this way. And it's like, it's more of like a challenge to me. I'm like, well, cause you said that, I'm going to go work harder and like push myself to do that. Cause, you know, minor league, you know, you see a lot of switch hitters become one-sided and they're like, you know, this is going to be the easier route for you. But like, for me, it's always been like, no, I want to like I want to do this. I want to see it through. I want to like, challenge myself and like show people that I can do it.
So how do you, even when I was playing short, but being in right, I had my at bat, right? And hit, out, whatever. You always think about your at bat, right? I can go out there and while I'm playing catch or whatever, think about, hey, he went slider away. Ooh, that was a nice swing. Or no, he went slider away and got me. Or he went fastball up. Man, I popped it up. Man, I think I'm dropping my shoulder. Whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have time to think about all that. As a catcher, once you make the out, let's say however you made the out, you rolled over, boom, you rolled over, fastball down the middle, whatever. Man, make the out, and you're putting on your catching gear. You don't have time to think about the mechanic you just messed up or whatever. You have to think about what's the first pitch, right?
Yeah.
How do you manage maintenance, like for your, like, or actually, let's stop this. Let's start with this. How do you do that? Like, how hard is that?
It's an art. It's it's learning. It's part of the game. You have to learn how to do that, and you have to learn how to separate, like I was talking about earlier. And I think you have your moment in the dugout.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
your gear or something.
yeah, and nobody's happy. You made the out. You sit there, you think about what you did. You're putting the gear on, you're strapping it up. But once you go on the field, it's got to be over. And like you said, like, can't sit there and dwell on it. Like, you can come back to it once you're back in the dugout, but like, your job is to take care of that pitcher. So that pitcher's relying on you to go out there and make sure that you're dialed in and ready to go. And it's like anything else you do. It's like working on your hitting, working on your throwing, whatever it may be. It's something you have to learn to do because it's not always been good. You get mad and you take it out of the field.
Tell me about that. So, like, for young catchers out there or really people in general, like, what has happened to you from experience when you took that at bat out on the field, and now what happened? Has something bad happened?
Yeah, I mean, you know how the game is. The game will come and slap you right in the face when you least expect it. So you go out there, and the problem is everybody's looking towards you.
Mm-hmm.
All the fielders, the pitchers. So if you have bad body language, which there's been times where I go out there, I got bad body language, or maybe I'm not ready for a pitch, and I lose a strike.
Mm-hmm.
Framing wise, I lose a strike, and then next thing you know, I'm not ready for the guy on first to steal because I was still thinking about my B, and or I don't block strike three, ball gets by me, long inning happens. So like, there's a lot of things that can go on, and like, I think the most important thing is you're in every single pitch. You can't take a pitch off.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're out there thinking about ABs, you're out there thinking about your swing, etc. It's a selfish thing to do, and you're not helping your team, you're not helping your pitcher.
But it is healthy to think about those things. So when do you get to?
In between innings, you find times.
So when you're not hitting, when you're not up and you're going back to the dugout or whatever, that's when you take your couple minutes to reflect.
Yes.
But make sure it's then.
Yes, make sure it's then. Don't take it out to the field.
And I feel like as a catcher, to your point, everybody's looking at you, and like, we really are. We feed off of, like, when a guy makes a pitch and you point to him or you get hype or this, that, and the other. Like, I feel like it energizes everyone.
Yeah, I mean,
you are the captain. I mean, shoot, when yesterday you walk out and you guys used to do signs. Everyone used to do signs, but now you just press the button.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the game stops because of you. So
yeah.
That's the point of, you always got to have a good attitude, fake it, whatever, and you can get upset, but pretty much just wait.
Yeah, and you too, like, when you're behind a pitcher and a catcher that are working, quick, working fast, being efficient, throwing strikes, you're like, heck yeah.
The game is different.
You're like, I want to be out here, and like, you guys are rolling, then you're getting in the dugout quicker.
Yep,
the game's moving.
We're getting the bats in our hands more often,
and that's a huge part of it. Like, when you're out in the infield for 20 minutes at a time, and guys aren't throwing strikes, balls are going everywhere. Tough innings, like, it's hard for the team, and it's hard to get in the rhythm at the plate as well with that. So
Can you answer this, because I do have this question. Let's say a guy is having a long inning, or he's not throwing strikes, or whatever your reason to have a mound visit. And I know there's different reasons, right? But how do you come up with what you're gonna say to a guy that's having a long inning or whatever? Like, and like, dude, this is really your last hitter.
Yeah.
Like, so how do you come up with what to say and keep confidence in those guys? Because pitchers are just like anybody else. We're fragile in our mind, especially when we're out there, And so how do you talk to those guys?
I think every guy's different. You can't. It's hard to do a cookie cutter approach with one or with the whole staff. Guys can tell when you're not being real or authentic or truthful, and So I think that's the number one thing is you gotta be honest with them. You gotta go out there and you gotta instill confidence and kind of whatever it may be. Sometimes you go out there just to give the guy a breather and just to be like, hey man, your stuff looks great. Like keep going. Like looks good. Or sometimes you go up there and you're actually talking game plans. You're talking like, hey, we got Mookie at the plate. Don't throw him a strike. Like,
yeah, yesterday I already knew, like, okay, when it got to 3-2, I'm like, this is an auto take because there's no way. And that's just reading the game, right? That's just obviously, if he could have thrown a strike, could have been a strike. It could have been anything, but just reading the game there. So that's stuff you're going up and talking to them about.
Yeah, it's a game plan. You're giving them a breath. You're instilling that confidence. Sometimes you go out there and make a joke too. I mean,
okay. So it could be
sometimes
anything.
you act like it's all serious, and sometimes you get them to think about something else. So it's
so if you have a guy that's really serious up there, he doesn't really like joking. He doesn't, X, Y. Like, do you go up there? Are you just like, hey? Do you ever talk mechanics? Like, do you talk to him about mechanics or anything?
I try to stay away from mechanics, just because, like, everybody's different in their cues, and like, how hitters are. Like, and it's just like, so I think more of it's like directional cues, or like, be aggressive doing this, or stay north south. You're flying off a tick, so like I said, try to stay away from those things per se, and like I said, it's more of like a game manager type than like the actual like mechanic at the time, because we don't got time to get out there and feel things. You gotta fix things ASAP, or things can go bad quickly. So it's like, what can I do to get this guy right in this very moment and help this team now, versus something he can go and make the adjustment to later, or maybe in between innings.
And you have, I think, you're top in the league in stealing strikes or something like that, framing pitches. How do you is that just like something that you're born with, or is it like you have a weight on your wrist and you catch all off season, or what is that?
So
where would that come from?
I would say, I think I've grown up and I've had pretty good hands, and obviously I think a lot of that is from I've caught for a long time, and I've learned, and doing drills, my dad, college, just I've been around the game, so I've had pretty good hands, and like I've worked on it a lot. But I will say this off season was the first time where I decided to make a few adjustments, and like Austin Hedges.
Okay, yeah, he cold.
Yeah,
he
can catch.
Yes,
he can catch for the best of them, and so he's in my we have the same agent, and I reached out to him like, hey man, I know this is weird, but like I want to talk to you. Like I want to get better at receiving. Like,
so shout out to you for like, knowing.
And like, I'm not like, I don't care how it happens. Like I'm not, I don't have an ego in the sense of like, I want to get better no matter what. So like, I'm going to go talk to the best guys.
You called him.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, so we got together this offseason. We talked for hours. Great baseball mind, by the way. He'll be a great manager one day. But talked to him. He gave me drills. We worked together through, the month of January, working on stuff before the camp started, and still talk to him about it,
nice.
Now. And he helped me out a ton.
Awesome, so. That's real cool. And I'm glad, cause you would think that within the league, guys don't, you kind of gatekeep information.
Right.
But I think it's a brotherhood, man. And we all want to win. nobody, but it's really important to just keep information passing along.
Yeah, pass it along.
Just pass it along, and it all comes back.
It does.
It all comes back. So I got this game I want to play with you. You want to play?
Let's do it.
Cool. All right, it's called Guess the Pitcher. So we have some silhouettes of pitchers, and so you've seen all types of pitchers, especially being a catcher. You have to guess who they are. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's see the silhouettes. Oh, I know who that is.
Yeah. Kimbrel.
That's Craig Kimbrel. We call him Mine. He says, "Hi, Mine." All right. And he's got that's signature, and I got to play with him in 18 and got to see that. Man, it was getting to really see Craig and getting to know who he is.
That's a cool thing.
It's super cool. Oh, that's Gilbert.
Yep.
I don't know how I know.
Tell by the posture.
Yeah. Yep.
I see that in my sleep.
How is he? Is he a young guy?
Yeah, we were drafted the same year.
Oh,
came
wow,
up together
I
and
didn't
everything.
know, I hadn't really known about him, but
he's.
You know who that is?
Yeah, that's Kershaw.
That's Kersh, 22.
I'll tell you what, that was actually one of my. You don't like striking out, but when he struck me out, I was like, "That's kind of cool."
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Then I almost got him. I flew out to the warning track. I'm like, "That's pretty cool." Too.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Playing with him has been awesome.
I bet.
That's
Verlander.
We got to get some tougher ones on here. We got to get some. So you know what? Some relievers.
Yeah.
Some relievers.
Some sneaky ones.
Some sneaky relievers.
Yeah.
That's Verlander. So facing him, I didn't really know. I didn't know Verlander. Whatever. But then I got to learn Verlander.
Can you teach me? Because I don't.
No,
He's on me.
I mean, it's not great. That's Chris Sale.
Yeah. That's crazy where he throws from.
Oh my gosh.
That's not a fun at bat either.
Oh my gosh. And he's one. I love him so much because you can't tell when he's pitching. He still talks.
Oh,
normal.
Just always one of those guys.
After he comes off the mound, it's like he turns his brain off.
It's good sometimes.
It's great. Yeah. I know that silhouette.
Logan Webb.
That's Logan Webb.
Yeah, I'm nightmares about him too.
Logan, I'm sorry, dog. I just love when I see that silhouette because I know it's gonna be a battle, but somehow you just throw it and it hits my barrel. I don't know why. I don't know how. But anyway, shout out to you for being a dog.
We don't have the same problem, man. Yeah. He's got me a few times. That's Scherzer.
That's Scherzer. So tell me about him. I know you've gotten to face him a lot.
I haven't.
You haven't?
I haven't got to see Scherzer. He's been in our division now for 2 years.
You haven't gotten to see him at all?
Have not seen him. He was hurt. Every time we faced him, it's been one of those situations where he's either hurt or we just missed him.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't seen him.
Okay.
I've seen Verlander a ton.
Okay, yep,
and I've seen all these guys except Scherzer.
He's hopefully you get to.
I'm hoping this year because
you know who that is.
That's Wheeler.
That's Wheeler.
In that video earlier, some guy was saying, "I can get it off Wheeler." I'm like, not Zach Wheeler. I'm like, at least that guy's.
Have you gotten to face him?
I faced him first time this year.
Okay,
he's that's a heavy fastball.
That's a heavy.
He's one of those guys where it's kind of like Woo last night, where he glides, glides down the mound.
It looked like it was here, but it was like up here every single time. Man.
Isn't it amazing?
Oh,
and it's so effortless.
Yeah, he doesn't even try.
Just some guys just have that natural glide down the mound, easy, and it just gets on you.
Oh man, and every pitch, he's really good, dude. I knew he was good from before, but seeing it. Whew.
Yeah, he's gonna be special.
You know who that is?
Oh, Darvish.
Yep.
Right?
Have you faced him?
I have.
Okay, so what do you got on him? I think he's obviously I think he goes 7 or 8 innings every time.
Yeah, he's really good. He's a spin master.
Master.
He can spin it any way he wants.
Anywhere he wants.
And that's tough because you can't, you're like, okay, he's going to spin it. Maybe I should just sit it. But you're like, well, which one?
Yeah,
Is it going to be the curve, the cutter,
sweeper,
slider, sweeper?
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of those guys that manipulates it. he can make it bigger or he can make it slower, and you might not see the same one over and over. So, and then the next thing you know, it's 97 by, and you're like, oh, I forgot about the fastball.
And that's the part that really, really sucks facing, but whatever. Ooh, let's see. Oh, I know who that
Cueto.
is. Yeah, that's Cueto. Did you you face Cueto?
Yeah.
And how was that facing him? With the timing aspect. Did that ever mess with you?
The timing, it wasn't too bad, but he just doesn't give you much to hit.
No, he doesn't.
He don't give me anything. He's not throwing over the plate. So it's like you're hitting my pitch and you're not hitting anything at all.
It didn't even matter about the timing. The timing didn't, like, he could have just went normal and still did the same thing.
Yeah.
I did appreciate the timing thing though. It made it.
It's cool. I think it's kind of. I like it when guys do that or like switch up arm slots. I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of old school.
It makes you feel like you're back in the backyard playing.
Yeah.
You're
and
that's
playing,
what you
having
used
fun.
to do.
Yeah, it's. I think I appreciate it.
All right, so I got some fan questions before I let you go because I know you got to go to work. Well, we got to go to work. Okay, so I'm gonna say yes to this question, but is Big Dumper the best nickname in baseball? I'm gonna say yes, and can you tell me where the Big Dumper came from?
Yeah. So Jared Kelenic, now in Atlanta, we came up together, farm system, and everything, and when he was always making fun of my butt, he's like, "You got a massive, butt, whatever." Making jokes and whatever. And it's like nothing I haven't heard before because I've heard it for a while now. And
so you always been thick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not always this big, but but when I got called up, he tweeted out like Big Dumper to the show, and everybody just thought that was hilarious. And then I ended up not like my first, half year in the big leagues. I didn't play well. Like it wasn't, I was just kind of there. Like didn't get to play a whole lot towards the end. And then the next year when I actually started playing well and things started clicking, like people thought it was so funny. Like Big Dumper, that's amazing. Like people just like they think it's funny, and now nobody calls me Cal. It's just Dumper, Dump, Big Dumper, yeah, Big Dump.
All right, little dump, Big Dump, or little dump,
yeah,
whichever one.
I get
okay,
tons of them.
so they put a Big Dumper on the jumbotron at T-Mobile Park. Do you know about this? They put where you break up with people. I guess you have to dump people.
Dump.
Okay, so tell me, like, you go on there and you just dump them.
Yeah. So they send. It obviously started out as like a funny little bit to do for the fans and stuff, and now we got like a whole email, bigdumper@mariners.com, and people send in their requests to break up with people, and it was a funny little. Mariners do a good job with that stuff. They're good with fan interaction.
Their games are you guys' games are really good.
They do a great job with the entertainment in-game stuff, and that was something people thought was hilarious.
Okay, so I know you played this game because every baseball player played this game. Did you see that the Backyard Sports that they're releasing Backyard Baseball?
I just saw it this morning,
dude. I'm so excited about that.
That's sick.
Backyard Baseball. That was like
remember like on the computer,
the
mouse and everything.
That was the best game in the world, bro. And obviously, I think everybody knows Pablo, right? Pablo. Everybody.
I saw what Bobby Witt was using his bat or whatever.
Oh,
he had Pablo on his bat.
Oh, really?
It was sick.
Oh,
I think he homered.
That's probably
something.
Yeah, of course. That's probably Bobby is his own Pablo right now.
Dude, he's unbelievable.
Okay, so I got two more questions. One, if you could catch any pitcher from any era, who would it be?
That's a great question. Nolan Ryan.
Why?
I mean, you got 5,000 strikeouts. Like
that's a lot,
dude. I mean, and plus, like he pitched, he wasn't coming out of the game.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. Yeah,
I feel like that's so cool. Like,
yeah.
That's a man amongst boys.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I want to see how hard it actually was. I want to know what it like. Everybody was saying like it was what he hit like 1-0. The theory, I don't know.
Now, Nola, I'm not taking anything away from Noah Ryan.
I don't know if it was definitely not that.
Okay.
But I want to know like how hard was it?
Yeah, how hard was it? Like he probably throws like the people said, I think he probably throws I like the Zach Wheeler fastball.
Yeah, like the down the mountain, hides it, good ride, like.
And it's hard, heavy to catch.
Yes.
And
I think he probably had a little bit of everything.
And you know what he did, what he had that was probably the best pitch was he would throw that thing right at your head.
Yeah, that's
and
old
let
school.
you know, yeah.
And like he wasn't afraid to do it over and over.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, as a hitter, you're like, if you're even thinking about it, you're out.
You're out. Yeah, if you're thinking, I don't know where this ball's going, you're out. Okay, so I got one more question. They told me this is a video question from a special guest, so let's see it.
My first question is, has he ever attempted to be a switch hitter? I don't remember if I ever read anything about that. Such an accomplished, phenomenal baseball player. And, you push yourself and you have a lot of self motivation and you want to try things and you have confidence in yourself. Has he ever seriously tried to be a switch hitter? And this follow-up question is related to that. Has he ever switched his hands to the left to bowl? Because he's a phenomenal bowler.
So Bryan Cranston asked if I ever wanted to be a switch hitter.
Bryan Cranston, the actor?
Yeah. He asked if I ever wanted to be a switch hitter. Bryan, thank you for the question.
I love his shows.
No. I never thought about being a switch hitter. I was a little guy, so I wasn't hitting it far. So if I turned around and hit it left-handed, it definitely wasn't going anywhere. So no, I never wanted to be a switch hitter, but we found one that's really good at it. Maybe you can teach me. It's too late now, though.
You're good. You're in a good spot.
It's too late now. Oh, and then I guess he asked me if I thought about bowling left-handed. No, I never thought about bowling left-handed. I've only thought about doing everything pretty much with my right hand because that's just what I knew. That's what I knew. And so, yeah, anyways. But, yeah, Cal, thanks for coming on here, man. And make sure you tell Pops I said what up. Hopefully your little brother gets to the league as well as a switch hitting catchers. And I'm sure your kids will be switch hitting catchers as well.
Just the whole family.
The whole family is just the whole Raleighs are all switch hitting catchers. So anyways, good luck for the rest of the season, brother. And keep doing your thing, man. You got them boys pitching that ball over there, dude. You got you got us over here questioning ourselves.
They're fun to catch.
Yeah.
They're great.
But anyways, thank you, my man. And I'll see you here in a couple hours.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you guys for joining us today, and we'll catch you next time.